Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of JoyBaking.com. Today we're going to make baked apples, and this is what it looks like. This is such an easy dessert to make, and it tastes so good. All you do is take your favorite apple, take out the core, stuff the cavity with some brown sugar, cinnamon, and chopped nuts, and then you just bake it until it's nice and tender. It is good warm from the oven with my favorite, vanilla ice cream. You can eat it at room temperature, or you might want to make some extra because you can put them into the refrigerator, have them the next day either cold, or you can reheat them. So the first thing that you will need to do is to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 190 degrees Celsius. So you make this one time, and then really you're not even going to bother with a recipe. It is just that easy to make. You will need a pan, a baking pan. You want one with sides. I'm just using a pie pan. And then you can take, I'm doing 4 apples. You could take 1 apple, 2 apples. You could scale this up to a dozen apples, whatever you want. I do recommend, normally I'm making 4, there's just Rick and I, but I like to make an extra 2 because they taste just as good the next day. So, what type of apple? Any type of apple. Wherever you live, whatever you like and whatever's in season. You can use a tart, you can use a sweet. I prefer a more firm textured apple, but if you like a soft apple, the only difference is going to be in the baking time. I do recommend, like as you see here, that they all be the same size. And I say that so they all bake in the same amount of time. But then again, you could always check them all and take them out as they're done. But that's the only stipulation. So just for reference, I'm using a Pink Lady today. I have tried using all different types. I like them all. So it's just whatever apple you like. Wash your apples, of course, and then take your apple. You can just take out the core with a knife, but if you're going to do this fairly often, I would recommend buying one of these apple cores. They're like under 10 bucks. I mean, and what a gadget. I mean, I just love it. So take your apple. I don't know why, I guess you do it from the top. I always do it from the bottom. Just take your apple core or a knife, and this one you just kind of, elbow grease here and just put it through like so. Pull it out and you have a perfectly cored apple. I like the look of it. If I cut it with a knife, I'm not as, don't make the holes so nice and round, but who notices anyways. And then you just take out the core. So that's our apples. Like I said, you can space them fairly close together. And for the filling, I like to use, I have a 1/4 cup, 50 grams of a light brown sugar. Like I said, this amount we're making is normally, like these are medium-sized apples. It's enough for the 4. And then the cinnamon. I mean, I like 3/4 teaspoon. I like, fairly good cinnamon flavor. You can, some people, I've seen recipes up to 2 teaspoons, so I guess those people really like cinnamon. I like about 3/4. If you want less, you could add less. If you don't want cinnamon, you could just leave it out. And then I'm adding just 1/3 cup, 35 grams of, I'm using chopped pecans. You could use walnuts, I think hazelnuts, almonds. You could also use raisins or currants, or you could do both, or not at all. Just have the sugar. As you can see, lots of variations on this. And then what you're going to do is just take this and spoon it into the cavity. Don't worry if it slops down into the bottom. And then once I get it full, I do like to press it down, and then so I can add a little more. I'm just going to do that with all of them. Okay, so that looks good. So now, what I like to do is to pour, I'm using some unsweetened apple juice. You could use apple cider, or you know what, a lot of times I just use water. And what I want to do is just pour enough to cover the bottom of my baking pan, you know, maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of the way up. And because that's going to actually form like a syrup. And then I'm going to pour that when they come out of the oven. I'm going to pour that when I serve. I'm going to pour a little of that over the top of the apples. Makes them really taste even better. So everyone's oven is a little different. Plus, it depends what type of apple you're using. I'm going to say check them at 30 minutes. It could take up to an hour if you have bigger, larger ones, or they're more firmer in texture. But test them at a half hour. And what I do is I take a wooden toothpick and I just insert it into the side here, and it should be nice and tender. If you have a lot of resistance when you're poking in your toothpick, then just, you know, bake them another, 10, 15 minutes and test them again. But as you can see from this one, this is what's going to happen. Gets kind of, the skin gets, it might split a bit and gets all puckered and really good and soft. So I'm going to say somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes. So our baked apples are done. Don't they look gorgeous? So I'm just going to take my toothpick and insert it into the side. Should go in fairly easily. So now, you will notice when they first come out of the oven, the skins are quite smooth. As they cool, the skins kind of shrivel up. So it's perfectly normal. So I'm just going to let these cool down a little, and then when we come back, we'll try one. So I let them cool a few minutes. So now I like to serve my baked apples in a bowl. So you can use a plate if you want. And then, as you can see, there's all this wonderful liquid. I like to spoon it over the top. And like I said, if I was here by myself, I would have some vanilla ice cream. But since we're supposed to be tasting the baked apple, I'm not going to today. So now, just cut that open, so you can see here. Oh, doesn't that look wonderful? Apple, pecans. That's really good. I think this is just such a great way to serve apples, especially in the fall when they're, they're harvest time. So, pick whatever type of apple. If you can go to a apple orchard, that's fantastic. And, bake it, like I said, anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes, depending on the size, or just until when you insert that toothpick, it's nice and tender. You really taste the apple. We didn't add that much sugar. So, you're mainly tasting the apple, which is what you want, with a little, and I like the pecans in there. And and the juice, extra juice over the top. Like I said, you could serve it, my favorite, vanilla ice cream, but cream, a custard, like some maybe lightly sweetened yogurt or creme fraiche. I mean, really, it's endless. Said warm from the oven is good, room temperature. You can store the leftovers in the fridge, and then, you could eat them cold. Or just, pop them in the microwave and have them again the next day. So you must try it. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.